We'll see if we are able to succeed in our discussion. Objective is, so this is a panel called Health Beyond Medicine. So if you are convinced that you can be healthy without medicines, then we're successful in our endeavor. Okay, so I had written a lot of objectives, but let's stick with that. Okay. All right, and also I think which came up yesterday by various speakers. We heard about dharma, sustainability, Agni, the importance of Agni, the dimensions, 8 dimensions of health, Kaustubh, you talked about, and the 5 types of diseases, Neeraj, you talked about. So various aspects, so you'll see all of those also. They are related to health in one way or the other, because this is a dharma conference. So we'll see how health is also seen from a dharma point of view. Okay. All right. So can we have the first word cloud? So so if you go to the AHA slides, so link. So if you have from yesterday, the same link, AHA slides, will be N995Y. It will show. Yeah. So, and there'll be a question for you. So once you see that, just define it by one word, if you can. And yeah, we'll have that. We'll start with the one word, and then we'll have the expansion. All right. So you can see the QR code, I think this is different than yesterday. So if you can open your phone cameras and scan this, or you can go to the website, ahslides.com, ONWYZ. And once you have it, then we'll proceed. Whenever anyone gets it, raise your hand so I know that at least it's working. It's working? Okay. Yeah, so we'll give a few seconds so that everyone, does anyone needs help in getting this? Okay. All right, so this, so do you see a question on your phone screen? It says, what does the word health mean for you, or what words define health for you? Do you see that? On your screen, not here. Oh, here also? Yes. Okay. What
is health to you in a few words?
Yeah, these are the people posting, right? Okay. Yeah, so take maybe 10, 15 seconds more. Whatever comes to you immediately. You don't have to think about it. This is not your thesis project. So just think about what comes to your mind immediately. Okay? Wealth. Yeah, health is wealth. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah. Just for hint for those who are thinking, see what words in your native language, what is the word in your native language for health? If there's a word also, think of what, and then you can put that English meaning for that. Do we have? Okay. Let's see what the word cloud, what we see. Okay, so people are still writing. No, it's not coming here. Yeah. All right. So I think everyone has entered, right? So can we see the word cloud? Can we see the word cloud? I mean, will it show? This is supposed to be a word cloud. Yeah, go to the next, I think. Or you have to close it, I think, or people are still typing. Okay, so maybe you can wait. Or it will show probably. No. So is there a word cloud?
Yesterday it was like this. Only for the first question, not the word.
Is that the button you have to press?
Go into Teams.
Yeah, or maybe.
Click there. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I think there isn't a word cloud because there were 2 identical questions.
Okay. Do we have a word cloud or?
This one's similar.
I mean, if it doesn't take that.
This is similar.
Okay, so then at least we have something. All right. So from audience, because I cannot see. So volunteers, what can you read? 1 or 2? Like can you see what do you see on the screen? So some people are defining.
No disease, living without pain and medicine, living without concern. I'm just going all over again.
All right. So just as a one, so that everybody is awake. Physical well-being, right? Yeah. And you can all see, right, from the behind also. You can read. Okay. Physical well-being, Some people define absence of disease, disease-free, no disease, living without pain and medicine, happy body and mind, a fit body and a fit mind. And then there was emotional and mental well-being, at peace with oneself and surrounding, inner peace, feeling energetic, contentment, physical and mental ability, excellent. We have holistic health, body, mind, and spirit. Swastha, health is important to me, not much can be done without health. Integrated living, living in harmony with the ecosystem, oneness, wow. And security and freedom from illness, living without concern, going through life without worrying about disease or physical pain, being able to perform all activities without any major constraint, security of life from death, okay. Joy and satisfaction, you're in the right room, by the way. So, joy and satisfaction, feeling happy and no ailments, living fully in absence of pain or sickness, sadhana, shanti, tushti, pushti, swasti. Others put S, that's my initials, shanti, wealth, vibrant vitality that allows me to experience life to its fullest, physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual happiness, action, absence of disease, balance. Okay, so we are all seeing, I think it's pretty, and swastha again, wealth. Oh, wealth, good. Don't realize any part of the body. And pancham, mahabhuta in harmony, and innate nature of body is perfect state. Yeah, so I think they are all, so we all get it. So I can tell you this thing. You probably won't learn anything new, but you'll probably understand this better. Now, let's hear from our panelists how they define health based on their training and based on their profession. What does health mean to them? We have seen what health means to you. Let's hear from the panel. We can start from Srila ji.
Sure.
We'll go in this.
Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay. Namaste and good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I'm Srila Sharma, and I'm a nutritional epidemiologist. So what that means is that I look at diet in the context of population and public health. I work at University of Texas School of Public Health, so not too far from here. And one of the areas of focus that I've worked on is really thinking about how do we create sustainable solutions to address food insecurity and diet quality. How many of you eat? we all, so food is fundamental to life, right? And we all need to eat to live, but we also need to eat well to live well. And we live in a country where, how many of you are residents of Houston? Okay, everybody, for the most part. You did not raise your hand. Where are you from? From Dallas. Okay, but you live in Texas or United States, right? And in the U.S., we have an interesting conundrum of our food system. We grow a lot of food, but we don't do a good job on how we grow it. So, for example, in the U.S., we don't have crop rotation of our food system. What that means is that the apple that you're eating today is less nutrient dense than the apple you ate 10 years ago because of just how we grow the food. So the quality of the food that you're buying at H-E-B or whichever your favorite store is not the same. The other issue is that you're probably paying 4 pounds for the grape tomatoes that you love because a lot of food waste is happening at this place of growth. So we have 80 billion pounds of fruits and vegetables that are actually left to die on the farm in the US. I'm sharing all this to say, because food insecurity is concurrent with diet quality in the US. So we grow a lot of food, but none of it actually makes it to a lot of people. So about 50 million Americans are actually hungry. What that results in ultimately is disease. And so to your point, when we talk about health in the context of disease, our definition is that health is not just the absence of disease, it's also the presence of well-being, and food being something that's fundamental to human life. We unfortunately live in an ecosystem in the US where we grow a lot of food, but it doesn't make it to a lot of the people that actually need it. And what that results in is higher rates of chronic conditions that we're seeing today, diet-related chronic disease. How many, can I ask a question to the audience?
We'll just do a short answer. on
Okay,
the what is-
okay.
how do
So
you-
that is I'll stop there. Thank you.
So you can go ahead. We'll go in this order. Just a short definition of health. We'll expand later.
Namaskar, everybody. Vaidyanand. I'll just start with a small prayer and let's see what we find out. Namami dhanvantari adidevam surasure ravanditapadvadmam lokadaya trunasham tataramisham vidivid aushadinam Omagyanatimirandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurum militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. So I have a practice in Houston, which I've been doing for more than a decade. I belong to a traditional family of Vaidyas from India. My primary focus of health and well-being is going beyond just medicines. So according to the question what he asked, based on the question what he asked, I'll just try to answer it from the Ayurvedic perspective. In Ayurveda it is said, Samadosha samagniksha samadhatu malakriya prasanna atma indriya swastha iti abhidiyate. Which means that samadhatus, when the dhatus and the elements in the body are proper, when your evacuation is proper, of mala and kriya, like the things which you do. Samagniksha, like when your agni or the digestive fire is better. And apart from that, this is for the content of the physical body. But apart from that, when you talk about the prasanna, atma, mana, indriya, these three fundamental aspects people tend to ignore or they are not aware of. Once they are in harmony, then the swastha, iti abhidiyate, which means the Sanskrit terms he says, this is what is called as a good health. So that's what I want to say.
So I'll pass it on here and I'll come back because I also have Ayurvedic perspective. So,
Okay.
so I'll just add on to Anandji said. Swastha means established in self. So, and Ayurveda will say, just expand on what you said. Balance is health, imbalance is disease. And Sheila ji said about food. So sometimes we see people who are otherwise healthy, but say, I'm not able to enjoy my food. That is also unhealth, not being a state of health. So yeah, whenever we are not feeling our true self and not able to enjoy, as you said, prasanna atma indriya, that is same definition for me also, health. When we are able to, and also Ayurveda will expand on the social health when we are able to have good relationships and we have a sense of purpose. So our purpose of Ayurveda when it comes to health is so that we can fulfill our purusharth, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And so that is the dharmic point of view for health, according to Ayurveda. When people are feeling lost, that is also, according to me, is they are not healthy.
Suprabhatam. You already heard all the 8 definitions from me yesterday, but I want to focus more on 2 issues actually, and I grossly impressed by Sushruta Samhita, and I have been teaching the MDs at Karolinska Institute for prevention, mainly prevention, so the patient should not come back to the doctor. Okay, once and then, if come back second time, then not a good doctor. And that was the main philosophy. And then one thing I found very I repeatedly said that why Sushruta wrote 21 chapters out of 66 chapters in the whole book. 21 chapters focusing on eyes. And then I have been searching, and I can now inform all of you. Suddenly I found in a very old shrine in Japan, they believe that the god landed first on earth and not that mountain. So it's prohibited, but the priest accompanied me to the top of that. And there's a fantastic, I found it a Shivalinga, exactly. And then I started searching more. And that priest suddenly told me, when we eat, what we do? I said, what? We just eat? No. We see first. We see first. And on the very moment, I decided to come back to Sushruta Samhita. And there I found 2 pages focusing on that when you get the food placed in front of your eyes for at least 1 minute. So first you eat through your eyes. And then you smell. And then in Sushruta Samhita, 4 chapters on nose and breathing. Then you smell. And we already know Granana or the Bhojanam. Okay. So if you do practice this, I did it, and it helped me a lot. So from now and onward, you can just look very with full concentration on the food instead of mobile or chatting or talking. Do it 3 days and you feel yourself how better is your own health. So first you watch and then you smell and then start. And don't, just a second. And then don't use spoon at home. Use fingers. Because in China they have a fantastic study in University of Shanghai that when you use your fingers, actually that touch in your nerve cells gives stimulant to your brain, and that gives you better digestion system.
Namaste. I'm the last person here, so I don't know how much I can add, and also a medical doctor. So, but yes, health is something that doctors are not comfortable with. Because if you go to a doctor and say, well, the doctor is going to ask you what's wrong with you. And if you say nothing, then the next question is, why are you here? Right? So we all know that medical professionals or doctors or modern practitioners are not the actual ambassadors of health, which we should be. I think that is something that has driven me, at least, for digging in deep, and going into yoga has helped that. But health particularly is not something that we seek. You know, it's there. It is inherent. In the word disease, there is ease. I think the whole essence of our practices and the journey of life is to start removing the layers, deleting, not seeking, but deleting the layers that we build, not just one lifetime, lifetime after lifetime. And this baggage of the past, which is keeping us caught us in the dualities of pleasure, pain, and fear-based instincts, and governs our actions and choices we make, that's what builds the layers. So if I say, I want health, well, if you drop all your wants and remove the layers of I-ness, you're left with health.
And WHO also defines health similar to what we heard here. They say it's the state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely absence of disease. So, so that's WHO definition for last 50 plus years. I think 1942. Yeah, 1942 they came up with the definition, and they have other organizations have also modified. But the theme on health has always been this, and there's no mention of medicine in any of those definitions. When I was studying microbiology, for me, health was if you don't have any infection, you are healthy. So when I was an immunologist, then if your immune system is working well, you have no inflammation, and you have, immune system is not over and under active, you're healthy. As a gut, if you're pooping well and if your gut is healthy, you're healthy. So the definition keeps changing, but they're all, in the modern medicine, they're always talking about a particular area of physical body. So as we heard, we are hearing from different perspectives. So and this session also will be focusing more into this aspect. How does health, Kaustavji also mentioned some of the techniques, so we'll also hear about that. So we'll go into the next one. This is a question, I don't know if it's on that, but if you don't see it, okay, let's see. No, that is not the one. Okay, so I'll say the question, and you don't have to answer it, just think about it. And then we'll come back to that question here. If medicine disappeared tomorrow, because COVID time we didn't have availability of some of the medicines. If medicines disappear tomorrow, what factors would most strongly determine whether people remain or you remain healthy? So if medicines are not available, what factors? Just think about it. You don't have to answer it. And see by end of the session if you have those answers. What factors will keep you healthy? Okay? All right. And then we'll go back to the panel again. So this is, I think some of you already expanded on this. In your area of expertise, what are the single most factors influencing long-term health that medicine otherwise overlook?
I think that's a great question, and maybe there's a two-part answer to it. One is, I think, what you brought out in the WHO definition, which is the social context. We focus a lot on our individual choices, and we believe that our individual choice will ultimately inform our longevity, our lifetime, our health, our well-being. But the reality is that our external influences, the context within which we live every day, does inform our life expectancy and our well-being as well. If you live in Houston, I don't know if you all know this, but there's a 22-year gap in life expectancy if you grew up in the neighborhood of Sunnyside. Anybody know that neighborhood or aware of it? I hope you are, if you're living in Houston. It's a very impoverished neighborhood. There's a 22 between if you lived in Sunnyside versus you lived in River Oaks or Westview. So a 22-year life expectancy difference. That is not explained by your genetics or your individual choice. It's explained by the broader context, within the social context within which we live. And I think it's important for us. I mean, all of us are here because we care about something bigger than ourselves. And I think a big part about, how, going back to your question, about how we can influence our own lives is also by serving others. And thinking about how we can impact the social context we live in. There's a lot of data, studies done on happiness out of Harvard. Y'all might have heard some of the longest studies that have come out of Harvard. Service and serving unto others plays a huge role in how it impacts you and your life as well. So disparities, when we think about, you may never have entered Sunnyside, but what happens in Sunnyside and what you can do for the residents of Sunnyside will not just impact them, but will also impact your life. And I think that is an important part about creating that state of well-being, which is not just about us and ourselves, but about the bigger social context that we live in. I think the second part, what I would like to say, is about how we are training our providers and our healthcare ecosystem. 99% of our health happens outside the four walls of our clinic, right? Is that fair to say? Unless you're really sick and need to see your doctor almost every day, you are experiencing health with every single, part of your day outside the four walls of the clinic. Part of the problem that we're seeing is that our health system and our healthcare providers are unfortunately not trained in that way. Our physicians never even ask questions about nutrition or diet when it comes to their patients because that's not how they're trained. Is that a fair point? And so that is something that we are trying to change. So at our institution, we are actually training our McGovern Medical School students, Baylor College of Medicine students in something called culinary medicine. We're not training them to be dietitians, but they also need to know the relationship of food and health. So training a new kind of provider, a new health kind of a healthcare provider is also really important because when we have a health question, who do we go to? We go to our doctor. But if our doctors are not trained in speaking the language about food or about these basic needs, that's another thread that needs to be connected as well. So I'll stop there.
So Shilaji, can I summarize it into what you said, a social disparity in lifestyle and ignorance, whether it's about food or about health? Will that summarize?
Yes, I think so. Okay. Thank you.
So the question I'll repeat again for the audience. The single most factor or factors, let's say, influencing long-term health that medicine often overlooks.
Thank you, Shilaji. You presented very well. So I'll just continue from where she left. If I'm not wrong, you talked about the community building. And that's a very good approach, in fact. I see, like, most of us, practically, I wouldn't be wrong if I say all of us from the Indian background over here. In 1980s or late 70s, when there was only one channel in India, television channel called Doordarshan. So in that, there was a cartoon they used to show, the government of India used to show a cartoon where a person, like, who is a bird hunter, he throws some grains and the birds try to come. You got it right. Thank you. So how many of them remember that cartoon? Thank you. So that is the part where a community can build up, and in spite of getting into some difficult situation, we can come over it. It can't be done by individual. But at the same time, in order for us to go to the community level, we say charity begins at home. So I'll just explain on the base of Ayurveda. In the Ayurvedic philosophy, there's a Upastambha of Ayurveda. It is called as Ahara, Nidra and Brahmacharya. This is food. Ahara means food. Nidra is sleep. And Brahmacharya means a sustained way of living. So since I am representing Ayurveda, I am going to speak on that philosophy. So the Acharya Charak, in that, according to him, he categorized in three aspects. He says Ahara, that's food. Then he says Swapna. He doesn't say sleep. He says Swapna, dreams. And Brahmacharya, a sustained way of living. And once we do that, once we try to adapt these aspects, then eventually we will see that not only we help ourselves, we can create a very good impression in society in general. And that's where, like, sustainability, a proper approach to the food, and a healthy life.
So to summarize, the three sub-pillars of health, food, sleep, and sensory indulgence, and the community engagement, interpersonal relationships as well as social relationships. That's the factors. I'll pass it on to Devraj this time, so you won't be the last person.
Every time.
So what is the aspect of health that modern medicine is overlooking? It's the sequence of disease process itself. If we just take heart disease, and I'm dealing with complications of heart attack and heart failure, well, if we come one level down, it happens because of blockages, atherosclerotic heart disease, blockages in the blood supply of the heart. Well, what leads to that? Because of risk factors, whether it is obesity, whether it is sleep apnea, whether it is blood pressure, cholesterol, numbers, right? What caused these abnormal numbers? Well, because go one level down, and this is where modern medicine stops. We only start with the numbers. We start looking at the blood work, we look at the patient, check the weight, blood pressure, and now our intervention begins. But you go one level lower, and years before, we have started making some choices. We have made some habits. We have developed some sanskaras, and those are keeping us entrapped. And now medicine has forgotten that. It doesn't even touch it. So why did these habits form? Well, because we were in the likes and dislikes and are fear-based. Well, this is where yoga starts, and it says, okay, well, you have your abhinivesha, you have your fears, you have your pleasure, pain, you have your raga, dvesha, and these sanskaras have been going on life after life after life. When are we going to break free from that? How long are we going to carry the baggage of the past? Right? So unless and until we address this, how will we even become free? So now these are the aspects that medicine has taught. There's a whole American Board of Lifestyle Medicine which has these pillars, but again, what is the decision-making instrument which makes those choices? With your eating protocol, with your breathing protocol, with your moving protocol, who is that instrument? What is that instrument inside of us that is making those choices? And can I train that? This is modern medicine is missing.
So, Kaustuji, I think we heard from you about a lot of factors.
Okay.
But if you want to say one factor, the most important factor in your opinion, which is overlooked.
Most important factor for me is spiritual health, without any doubt. And why? And especially we all are Indians here. Especially it's an Indian symptom, I call it. We are very much envious to each other. We generally don't live for myself, we live for others. That's the problem. You say I am good, that's why I am living. In any other good society, they live for themselves. I live for myself. Who are you the hell to say me I am good or bad? That's all. But in Indian culture, it's also, I don't know from where, it's British or this, from where we got this culture that we are inherently living for others. That's a big question. And I always believe that we all know that we are most intellect animal, but to me, I believe that I am the dumbest animal. Because if there is a cloud, a dog or a cat can take the shelter, imagining or understanding with the sensing that there will be rain or there will be tornado. Can we do that? No. So how we can demand that we are the most intelligent animal? That means we already cut off from the society and from the nature. But go to the farmers at the Indian village. I have learned a lot, especially the so-called tribals. They are the originals. I don't never tell they are the aboriginals. They are the original Indians. Go and learn from them. I learned. I can all show you two things. This tongue, I learned from them. Yesterday I talked about tongue. I learned from them. And another thing I can tell you, if you feel your lip is little moisture, you can get, not inside the room, outside, then you could be sure that there will be rain somewhere in the near about. I learned from a tribal old villagers. So, you know, they are so much inside the nature. And that's why when you raise the question that without medicine, how we can survive, we need to go back to our pavilion to be connected with the nature. That's the simplest way. And I am taking 2 more minutes. I have a fantastic study in Sweden during Corona. I found in a heavily immigrated area, it's always shooting like Chicago or like this. So that area and the most, not only rich, the top Swedish persons live in a top of a hill in Sweden, in Stockholm, Lidingö. And you know what I found? That those living in that Malmö, that not poorest in Sweden, there is no such difference, but that's the highly immigrated area, and it's fighting and shooting, and exactly like small slum areas like this. You know, I found that those areas during September and October in 2021, every day they have taken 5 to 7 different antibiotics 3 to 4 times. Imagine. And when I asked that from where you got it, yes, I asked my relative from my country to send it. And post was not working in that way for checking the customs. So can you imagine in 1 week they have taken 50 to 60 different antibiotics. And the same question when we asked in that rich area, they told that we just disconnected. Even the husband was not meeting the wife. So they are going to their kitchen separate time. So with the SMS, they fix the time. And after 1 hour, they are waiting. So I go, cook, come back. So after 1 hour, my wife will go and come back. So it's separated like this. And someone will open the window so the fresh air can come. So you understand that how the health behavior changes among the low and high socioeconomic status. And we Indians, we have also noticed that in Bombay, that slum areas, there was not a single death during pandemic. Why? Where all those theories gone? It's the most or highest densely populated area, not a single death, and who are living in the top high-rise with billions of crores of rupees, why they have the highest amount of death? And there is coming the spiritual health, the karma.
So spiritual health. Spiritual health, what do you say? And so I think there's nothing for me to add because all the points which has been raised. But I'll just still add two more things to that. So I will say it what it is and only very briefly expand on it. So I will say avidya and aham, or ignorance and ego. So what I mean by that, so lack of awareness, as you were saying, and majority of the time, the healthcare industry or healthcare professionals, they are treating people but not educating them. And most of the time, I think this audience will agree also, that a lot of times the cause of our health is also the confusion about health, or the cause of sickness is because confusion about health. So ignorance, I would say, we are not properly trained to be healthy. And second thing is ego. When I say ego is also lack of awareness. And that also includes awareness about self and others, so lack of connections. And awareness is something which we know, you can call it like, not seeing the mirror every day. But we are not talking about physical mirror. We're talking about the emotional, spiritual, mental mirror. And if that we start doing, and health is, the healthcare field is not talking about that and that's also the sensory overdose and everything is connected to that. So I think we got a lot. Yes, please.
I think what's missing from the healthcare conversation is the root cause. The conversation around root cause related to both maintaining health and also preventing disease. But I will say another piece. So I do a lot of policy work. And I will say another piece that's missing. So a lot of healthcare is actually driven by policy, right? And it's ultimately driven by money. What can you bill for? And the conversation, there's no money to be made in prevention, according to the insurance companies and payers. We know that there's a lot of money to be, because you're keeping people healthy, right? Keeping them out of the ER. But if you think about it from the payer standpoint, the insurance company, there's no money to be made in prevention. And there's a lot of conversations that are happening in echo chambers. So this is, what I would call an amazing, but it's an echo chamber, right? We all, I think, agree and have very similar values and principles. The question is, how do we also cross-pollinate what's happening here into those other conversations as well? And because I think that is the part that I see is largely missing when the decisions are being made around healthcare and what is covered by our health insurance, right? Prevention is not covered by health. I don't know if y'all know this, but it's not covered by health insurance. If you go to the gym, that's never going to be covered by health insurance. You want to go to see a dietitian, 15 minutes is what's covered by health insurance. Just 4 15-minute sessions a year. So there's no value in the healthcare system around health insurance, right? Those decisions are being made by someone somewhere. And we are not part of those conversations. So I would also add that we need to be part of those each and every one of us who are engaged in some way, whether you're a patient or a provider, we need to be part of these conversations when these decisions are being made around what constitutes as health. If we all believe prevention is a core pillar of health, then it needs to be part of our healthcare system. It needs all the way from training our providers to what gets paid as part of our healthcare system as well.
So the health advocacy, so that would be the keyword. So let's, I think we've been talking a lot. Let's read the room a little bit. So we'll have some poll questions again. Let's see what we have. Do you sleep well on most days? Is that the question there?
No.
Okay, so what is the question there? What is one small big change you would like to make? Okay, so maybe we can come back to this question. Oh, this is already answered? All right, okay. So let's see. So the responses we got, people are still typing. Okay, they're grouping. Okay. All right. What is one small or big change you would like to make related to your food and nutrition habits, if any? So people are saying, oh, bhaji papdi chivado ka tyag. That's good. Yeah. So let's go from the top. Dietary changes. Well, we had samosas this morning. So dietary changes. Reduce carb intake. Reducing reliance on rajasic and tamasic food. Minimize consumption of cheese and fried foods. Okay. And then we have eating habits. Eat early in the evening. Eat slowly. Eat less. Eat 80%. Devraj, did you enter these things? Eat every day at the same time and finish dinner as early as possible. Food choices. Eat fresh. Eat sattvic food. Then we have mindful eating. Listen more to my body and its needs. Good. Lifestyle adjustments. Eat right amount. Eat right time. Right food. Eat like my grandmother did and father. Best way not to eat late. Okay. And we have bhaji papdi, sattvic food, walk, pranayam, and good sleep. Detach vairagya from likes and dislikes in terms of taste. Cook fresh food, eat fresh, eat regular time. So yeah, so I think a lot of you have already touched upon. But this is your wish list, or this is what you do? I mean, you have seen. Okay, all right. Yeah, if this is a wish list we can talk about, we can go into a little bit more, because I think we have experts about all these things. So, Ji? Yeah. So this is also a point. See, Ayurveda will say whatever you can enjoy, your senses can enjoy and everything, you should not feel guilty about anything. There's nothing like bad food and good food. It's about good time and bad time to eat, and according to your prakriti and vikriti, so according to your balances. So yeah, so bhaji could be good when it's raining outside. Bhaji is good. Okay, so we'll hear about what all our experts. Maybe we can come to this question, this part expansion. We'll cover this aspect definitely in the next hour and a half. So do we have the next question? Maybe let's see what is the next question. You don't have to necessarily answer, but let's see. Okay, maybe next. Can you skip this question? Yeah. So let's come to this. Do you feel you sleep well on most days? Yes, it's a yes or no. So we want to see. Oh, yes. Okay, so one answer, yes. Okay, it's like, wow. And it does not include this session, okay? Not that you're sleeping well in this session. I'm talking about it at home at night. So far, we are kind of a 50-50%. I like the answer, don't know what good sleep is. And that is something I think most of you probably who are saying yes or no probably don't know that also. But yeah, so I really, we have some awakened being here. So we say, okay, so it's kind of 50-50, yes and no so far. So while we are seeing, we are getting all the results, maybe we can have the conversation on, because Ayurveda definitely have a lot of opinion about sleep, but let's hear from everyone, and let's keep the answers very brief, because we have a lot to cover. So just maybe 2-3 sentences, and what do you think about what is good sleep is? It could be a personal opinion, or it could be a professional opinion.
I don't have a professional opinion on sleep. I don't do sleep studies, but I will say from a personal standpoint, sleep is and this is what my 16-year-old son always tells me, that when he does not sleep well, it affects every part of his functioning. And so it's sort of like a critical component, and that we have lost in the years because we don't value sleep. We equate working hard and being successful with sleeping less and poor quality of sleep. And we add, social media and everything else to it, watching TV before we go to sleep. So I think we don't treat sleep as a critical behavior that we need to pay attention to the same level as we do food or movement or other types of behaviors. So I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. So, Ayurveda has a very broad spectrum about sleep and how we get it. And this might be tricky answer it. How we enjoy the sleep. How many of us enjoy the sleep? Yeah. So one of the definition of sleep is where the mind literally falls to sleep. Now, how does the mind falls to sleep?
No dreams.
No dreams. No, dreams are part of the mind. So, like all of us in the room, we are trying to pay attention, we are listening, we are hearing, we are seeing, we are trying to be attentive. But you don't have to raise a hand for this question. But some of us, back of their mind, something else is also going on. Right? So that's the nature of the mind. The nature of the mind is always to be active. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna tells Krishna, he says, what to do with the raging. I can control the raging wind, but I can't control my mind. So, according to Ayurveda, when the mind is sleeping, the mind is not thinking about anything else. And there are different gradations of sleep which has been explained. In the English terminology, I'm not much aware of sleep patterns, but in Ayurveda, there are different aspects of sleep, how it's been experienced. And why is it so? Because that particular aspect in one's life is very, very, very important. And I can elaborate next.
Come back to that. We'll come back. Maybe Devrajji, do you want to expand on the sleep? What do you think is a good sleep according to you?
So sleep hygiene is very important. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., we are circadian, we are connected with the sun. Our pineal gland is connected with the sun. There's natural melatonin production. So this whole idea that I'm a night owl and late riser is not. If you're a human being with a mind, we're connected with the sun. So 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the golden rule. Now if you have 10 p.m. of deep sleep, I need to go to bed by 9. And then now the daily routine is set. So your eating routine, your dinner, if it's at 8:30, you're neither sleeping well nor digesting food well. So your dinner should be done by 6. So now you see how things have to work out. 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. should be the deep sleep time. Right? It's always a good idea to have a sleep hygiene where we are doing some reflection, having some intention, some purpose about how the day went, where didn't do well, where did I lose my emotions, where did I deviate from my chosen path of practice. Good to have that reflection when you drift into sleep, and good to wake up, Brahma Muhurta, do your practices, and good to start with an affirmation that I'm going to work on this particular value throughout the day. This is going to set the tone throughout the day. So this kind of sleep becomes a very powerful spiritual practice in our evolutionary growth. Sleep is not a time to just, okay, well, I have nothing else to do, or I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I need some rest, recharge. Yeah, those are there at a physical level, mental level. But at a spiritual level, sleep becomes a very auspicious purification practice because you're connecting with the chitta, the inner instrument, which is the decision-making body. You can reflect on the mistakes of the day, not to beat yourself, not to feel guilty, but what do I need to work on? Have a good pattern of sleep hygiene and start with the day with an affirmation.
So just define. So I think what we're trying to get is how do we see because the poll was, do I sleep well or not? How do we see if I slept well or not? So think of it as a lakshan or symptoms next day. So if I have to say, did I sleep well or not? Konstanji, maybe very briefly. No, I can go on.
Okay. As I told yesterday, with the 8 dimensions of health, I completely see myself, and also I ask all my students to do it. Maybe I can request you all. So before going to bed, try to calm down your emotional health. There is no envy, no jealousy, nothing. Just pray how grateful I am today that I am alive. And I should pray that tomorrow morning I should wake up and take the next breath with my consciousness. So if I do frequently like this, my emotional and mental health will come down very, very quickly, believe me. Try tonight. And then you practice yourself a couple of days and your body will be accustomed to it and you will have great sleep. I practiced it and I travel a lot. I travel like hell. And last week I was in South Africa. This week I'm here. So you can understand my body clock is not, but still I'm sleeping very well because of this practicing that I got from my Guruji, but it's okay.
So before I answer this, so let's hear for those who said yes or no, because it's a small room, so even if you don't do a
50%
poll.
said no. That's-
Okay, so we are 50-50, so I think that's really a tiebreaker. And I'm very curious, I'm pretty sure you all are curious. So who are those people who are sleeping well or who think they're sleeping well? So just maybe one or two words define when you say I slept well, what do you mean by, how do you know you slept well?
The next day I'm feeling happy.
Feeling happy, good. So, fresh, you're feeling energetic and fresh. Okay. Just say, yeah, that's, we have 18 responses who say I slept well. Yeah, please.
I track on my Aura ring.
Okay, Aura Ring. Smart device tells you. Yeah, okay. Sleep score.
So until a year ago, I was having trouble and I started doing exactly that.
Aura Ring.
I have a question from this esteemed panel, what their opinion is. I don't like smart,
We'll cover that, technology.
but
Yeah.
what you can't measure is what you can't fix. I just checked because of this, how I slept last night and gave me good points. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But so, yeah, we'll come to that also because I want to bring that point here about how reliable sleep scores are, how reliable these are. But what do you feel? Let's forget about the devices. Let's forget what others are telling us. What do we feel when we say I slept well or did not sleep well? Some people say, oh, I did not sleep well, and the wife says, no, you were sleeping like a dead horse. And then what do you mean you didn't sleep well? So what do we feel? Not the other, not what our spouses are saying. Yeah, please. Energetic, yes. Just say one or two words, yeah?
Exactly opposite. When you wake up in the first thing in the morning and
Lack of energy.
you did not rest enough.
Okay, feeling drained or lack of energy, did not sleep well. Okay, energetic, huh?
Feel like there are a bunch of to-dos left.
Feeling overwhelmed, that there are a lot of things which I didn't fulfill, yeah.
Still unfinished and going.
So emotionally feeling worried or overwhelmed. Okay, anything else? We have a lot of, yes, just quickly, let's go, yeah.
Wake up satisfied.
Satisfaction, lack of satisfaction or satisfaction? Okay.
No concentration when there is nothing.
Yeah, so lack of concentration meaning no good sleep, or concentration, good concentration, you sleep. And nobody said enthusiasm. Does anybody feel like, I feel enthusiastic, hopeful, enthusiasm? Okay. You feel like, I'm ready to take the world. I have, things to do versus, and who feels the urge to go to the bathroom as soon as you wake up? Does everyone feel the urge? Immediately, I wake up, I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, so again, echo chamber. We are, a group of healthy people here. So I'll give up my perspective, unless anybody wants to add what they're thinking about good health, or good sleep or bad sleep. Then I'll go. So I'll give my perspective from both gut health as well as from Ayurveda point of view. So, and from yogic point of view also, it says that if you wake up and you don't feel the urge to evacuate, because we have Apan Vayu, which is active, so you're able to, excrete, that means you have not slept well. So a lot of recommendations, our gurus will say that if you feel that you're waking up early to do your yoga sadhana and you feel like I don't have the urge to go to the bathroom, go back to your bed, go to sleep. So a sign of good sleep is that you are able to evacuate your bowels. So, and if that doesn't happen, and then you can go back and we can go into detail, how does that happen? Devraj, you talk about circadian rhythm. We have, I think this room, probably everyone knows there's a thing called gut microbiome. I'm pretty sure you all know this. And because we are in the world of AI. So even our gut microbiome also sleeps and does not sleep well. So when we say I slept well, that means my gut microbiome slept well. And that's everything translated to that, whether your emotions or your GI issues and all. And then even the satisfaction and enthusiasm. So sleep, because when we're sleeping, we don't know what's going on. So after we wake up, only then we know whether we have slept well or not. So it's very important, if I have not answered, a specific word, think about this. What defines a good sleep for me? Because it's very important, as Anandji mentioned, Triyopasamba, we have 3 sub-pillars of health, and Ahar and Nidra, diet and sleep. So 30% or 33% of our health depends on sleep. You want to add something? Okay.
So, as all of us was saying in different aspects, how sleep is important. But at the same time, as Devrajji said, like this time between 10 to 2, that's an optimum time. And like when I was doing research that how people can sleep better, the one reason behind that is, out of many, is people don't know when to stop. I'll just give you a simple example. Let's say 70 years back in India, in a village, where there was not enough electricity, you can say that. So it was a natural rhythm or natural cycle for anyone to eat before sunset. By 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, it used to be a kind of, community meeting kind of thing. And since India is populated more in the village lifestyle, and earlier days the population in city was less. So people used to eat, they used to communicate, and that's how they used to wean out whatever things were happening throughout the day. And by the time they go to bed, they were not having any backlog with them. The mind was at ease. Nowadays, what we do is that, I was too busy throughout the work, day's work. I didn't have time to look at the news. I didn't have the time to communicate. I didn't have time to interact with people. So when people tell me this, I give them a simple solution. You guys can try it out. If you have the urge or if you have the desire just to text your friend or text some relative at night, all you have to do is just switch the time from 9 o'clock at night to 4 o'clock in the morning. Sleep early. It's not going to happen immediately. The other point I'm making is try to wake up early. If you wake up early, the body is forced to sleep early. And try this out for 21 days.
So we'll come back. We first define good sleep and bad sleep, and then we'll come to the strategies, our own recommendations. So we are exactly at 1 hour after the session started. And then we have a golden rule that you should not be sitting continuously for 1 hour. Sitting is new smoking. So let's do 30 seconds of activity, and then we'll sit back. Because we were all victims yesterday also for sitting too long. Okay, show of hands. Who have bad knees? Okay, who have bad shoulders, like they cannot move their hand up? Okay, so exactly. Very good point. So awareness. You had a good sleep yesterday, last night. All right. So just very quick. I'll give you a very quick workout for just for a few seconds. Which, if you're sitting continuously, which we all are doing the whole day. So first, we are standing tall. Okay. So if you're not standing straight, straighten your spine. So like a straight, just straight. Body should be aligned. Just let's make sure that you're standing straight. And then there are like 3 or 4 movements I'll tell you. If you have bad knees, I'll tell you the modification, then don't do that. But you're standing straight. Now raise your hand in front of you. Okay? And then we're going to do a Utkatasana, like we're going to just bend down halfway, like a half squat kind of thing. But if you have bad knees, don't do that. Raise your knees up, rather. Okay? So let's do that. Slowly, 1, 2, 3. And come back. And can you do this 5 times? 1, 2. This boosts nitric oxide release in the big muscles, so it's good for our lymphatic system and circulatory system. So let's do 5 times. And then, because our thighs suffer when we sit for too long. All right, and for those who have bad knees, you can just move your, right, so we're kind of making sure that our thighs are engaged. And then we're going to just move our hips like a hula hoop kind of thing. Do you feel something in your hips when you do this? Because, when we sit for too long, we lose circulation. And 5 times, and then rotate the other side. Hawaiian dolls, yes. All right.
We have always done Utkatasana without a chair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I will not call it chair pose. Okay, whether you may or may not have chair. And the third would be, you're gonna just do. I'll show you first. So make sure that your shoulder is fine for that. You're gonna do it like this. So you kind of using your muscles. You're gonna straight, a little bit bent. So you're not doing like this. You're doing like this, and then 10 times. So you can do. you should feel some difference in your shoulders, because when you're sitting for too long and we're kind of couch, so we have these muscles get strained. So most of you have noticed if you do computer work, you're sitting in this job, you have stiffness in that area. You don't have to go for massages. Sorry for people who have such therapists here. All right. And then third would be, so maybe just move a little bit here so that you don't bump into each other. And then just do like this. And don't swing, just you're doing with awareness. Do you feel difference in your shoulders? You'll see your shoulders moving, keep your neck straight. Remember the first one was we are keeping our body straight. Otherwise, Kaustuji will give you a long lecture on what happens if you don't keep your body straight. Okay, we are standing on our both feet, not like a horse, 1 feet. And, okay, all right. And then the last would be just do kind of shoulder pumps like that. Yeah, so that's what I want to see. This session rocks. All right, we can sit down. So it takes 15 to 30 seconds to do that. If you have any alarm, wristwatch, or fitness tracker, if you're sitting for 1 hour, spend a few seconds, do that. And then yes.
In that room, they are not doing exercise.
Yeah, so that's why we were rocking. This session is rocking. All right, so.
Life beyond medicine.
Yes. Yeah, health, this is life beyond medicine. Movement. So let's come back. So we'll talk about movement, we'll talk about everything. But since we were talking on sleep, maybe we can quickly go back again in terms of our own strategies, again, both professional as well as personal, for good sleep. And please, let's keep it a little brief so that we can go on to a lot of other things also.
Sure. I'll just say that for me, I follow the 10 to 2. I think people always say, look at babies. They always follow their rhythm. And we have somehow failed to kind of do that, right? Somewhere along the way, we get a different message that sleep is not as important. It's more important to check your email, talk to your friend, or whatnot. So for me, I think it's the intentionality. We all know what to do, right? Sometimes, but knowledge does not necessarily translate into behavior. And I think we have to have intentionality and mindfulness in understanding why we are not translating that knowledge into behavior. And then structure, building some structure around that. I do not have any devices where I sleep. That is an intentional decision that I made to leave my phone, iPad, laptop outside the room in a different space so that my space where I'm resting and healing my body is not the same space where I'm spending time doing all of these other things. So I think that intentionality and mindfulness is as important in sleep as in other behaviors as well.
So before you sleep, you set your intention, and then you're doing some awareness practice before you go to sleep.
Yes,
okay.
And I think the affirmation part and waking up is also a behavior, right? So how you engage in the waking up part is equally important as how you engage in the going to sleep part. And it affects your performance. I think going through school, I was going through I had crazy sleep habits. And so, but doing this for the last couple of decades has really shifted how much I can do in my given day because of what I do when I'm not doing anything.
So there's an old piece of wisdom that how you sleep decides how you'll wake up. So that goes into that. And I think Anandji also expanded a lot on what his factors are. If you just want to add on to something to that or not, then we'll move to the next one.
So, considering the time span, which are very less, and the topics are very deep, I'm trying to keep as brief as I can. Another aspect of sleep is, we need not try to push ourselves to sleep. You can't do that. When people take a sleeping pill, they think that, okay, I got 10 hours of good sleep. That's not sleep. You're forcefully shutting the system. That time the mind is not going to rest. The mind will, as soon as your eyes are awake in the morning, where the mind stopped, it will start from there again. So it's in order to do this, it's very important that we can have, or we should have, a perspective of proper day of activities.
All right. And again, few practices which you do, which you recommend for good sleep.
No, nothing to add, just the same. Between 10 to 2 is deep sleep, so you have to go to bed earlier, finish all your chores. So 10 to 2 is deep sleep, intention reflection before, affirmation after.
No, I already told what I do generally for sleeping, so that's all.
So I'll just add, we have a concept in Ayurveda called Dinacharya. You saying something? Okay, can we keep the questions for then? Okay, and then after this. So there's a concept of Dinacharya and then Ratricharya, which is your conduct during the day and for the night. And I'll just, from that perspective, I'll just say that, we divide the day as our lifespan. And as you said, lifespan is limited. So during the when we wake up, it's like a birth, and when we are sleeping, it's like a mini death. So, we all have heard from the Dharma point of view that we should prepare for our death. We should know our activities, and when we say Vanapasrashram and the Sannyas ashram, we are preparing for the final journey. So, same thing. Sleep is a journey in a way for some people. So, we are preparing for it, and I agree. I do the same thing. At least I tell people the same thing. So there's a thing called, so we have, in Ayurveda we have doshas, pitta, vata, kapha, you probably all have heard about it. So it's very important for the body's detoxification, regeneration, if we are asleep by 10 o'clock. So what Devraji also said, I'm just seconding that, which means you have to go back to bed early. And there are a set of rituals called Ratricharya, what you call as Ratricharya, which you should do, and which is now called, part of it's part of the sleep hygiene, which National Institute of Health also recommends. And that will make sure that you are actually asleep. So physiologically, we should be sleeping by 10 o'clock. And for those who are not sleeping by 10 o'clock, whether your ultrasound shows or not, you have some degree of fatty liver. So because for liver health, it's very important to be sleeping by 10 o'clock. So I would say, generally we say you clean yourself, do some oil massage, and then wind down activities. If you don't do your planning, if you're running, your whatever your business or your profession is, don't do planning in the evening. Just write down what you're grateful for. I've accomplished this so that I'm retiring basically. You know how we retire in a lifespan? Evening time before bed, we are retiring. That means we are satisfied. There's no unfinished agenda. Unfinished agenda, you can start in the morning tomorrow, but don't write that. That affects sleep, in my opinion, my personal experience also. So sleeping happy, that I'm satisfied, I can peacefully die. Mini death, again, I can peacefully die. That is my mantra that I want to, when I sleep. And even if I sleep for 3-4 hours, I wake up fresh because I was sleeping happily. So maybe not enjoying, but happy sleep. Yeah. So we'll go to the next portion. So all right. So let's see what's the next poll question is from audience. You have the question. You can ask Shrikant. You can ask your question.
So normally most of the youngsters sleep around like 12, after 12 or 1 o'clock, and some people do have like night shifts. Like what about them? When you mentioned about like 10 to 2 is the deep sleep area. So how can we define for such kind of people, or is there any solution for such kind of people?
Yes, so the modern society is pushing and pushing. And late night shifts in certain professions, yes. But if you look, a good mindful employer will keep those shifts for younger ones. And then after a certain age, they will encourage them to go to the day shift. But yes, I've seen myself, a lot of my patients who are in that profession, who are working and staying up, mostly the nursing profession. They do have some health issues much later in life. It may not show up soon. Younger you are, you have the ability to handle it. But after a certain age, the overall health affects. And there have been studies which shows that the abdominal circumference and the overall BMI increases, even if they are eating the same amount of calories, and it's just the absorption in the whole Agni is different at the setup. So if you are, for a few years it's okay, but we have shifts. I mean, younger people can always do the...
So is there any solution problem
I can
who are just following? I know you mentioned like shifts, but
Yeah, emergencies should be emergencies. We shouldn't be shift working just to increase productivity.
I'll just
Let me. Yes. Okay. One important study I have done in Swedish population, that those who have this kind of shift works, most of their kids have ADHD. So it's not only affecting them, it's also affecting their infants. And all these, I forget, 90 plus disease we have found, they're directly linked due to their non-symmetric sleeping pattern.
Solution.
So,
Any solution?
Yeah. So, just to give an understanding, all of us staying on the planet Earth, the deha is called, the body is called as Parthiva Deha, which means it comes from the word Prithvi. Now, between 10 to 2, there is a natural detoxification of thoughts, minds, which includes the liver. Liver is too active to detoxify the body. For whatever reason, if you are awake, the body doesn't understand that. It has a bio clock and it will work according to that. But considering a situation right now, if at all someone is engaged in this kind of professions, as Devaraji said, like it's better to find a new one. This is not a solution, but it helps. What I'm going to say, in the daytime, in the daytime, try to use an aspect of oiling the body. In Ayurveda we call it Abhyanga. So again, this is not a solution for that, but it helps the body to stay calmer. That's you can do.
Before we hear more, if you have not do the poll, please keep answering that. Yeah.
No, also in such professions like truck drivers and those who are working in the nights, it is very powerful to use this technique called Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is very, very powerful, and to train your patients, and I do train my patients to download the app, breathing app and the Yoga Nidra app. It helps them at least counter some of the effects.
Can I ask one small question? As we are talking about late hours, so the youngsters, the teenagers, they are not ready to sleep. They are constantly on their phones and all that.
No, we emphasize it over and over again that you are building up bad habits right now, and it's going to take a toll later on.
We'll take all the questions later. This is not a question answer session right now. We will not. This was an exception. I'm sorry we broke our rule because it will be very engaging session towards the end, and we want to cover a lot of grounds while still have energy. So, okay. Very quickly.
There is some research on adolescents and how their sleep cycles are different, and they're supposed to sleep later and wake up later, so schools have changed their times.
There are no scientific basis for that. There was no. So I'll just add what Devaraji said. Two things work really well. One, we should know the concept. We should know Yoga Nidra, and that really works. The other concept we should know: sleep debt and sleep bank. For those who are doing night shifts, even they are given within those 7 days sometimes, so that they can pay out their debt, so they can sleep over. And it's been scientifically shown that a lot of those negative effects, like insulin sensitivity and all the other metabolic changes, they can be reversed a little bit, but unless you make it as a habit. So it's rotated generally. So even if you get a night shift, and if your employer is continuously giving you a night shift, then you're in the wrong profession or in the wrong company. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. Let's see the poll. Do you feel confident your daily routine is healthy for you? Okay, again, divided house. No, 15 people said, 16 said, I don't know what's the best health routine for me. And 12 said, yes, I know what works for me. So again, kind of divided, and we'll come to this concept called, so we have covered Nidra, sleep, one of the pillars. We touched upon Ahar. We'll go back to Ahar also later because Ahar is a big topic, which is diet. And now we are covering the lifestyle, Vihar, what we call is. So what I was talking about, Dinacharya, or how our daily routine. We just put this question so that we know, even if we know what is a good routine or not. So at least a half of the room room thinks they have a, or maybe it's changing now. So, but good. I think still, I think there's a significant proportion of people who think they have a good routine. So again, very, very quick, just one word. When you people who said I have a good routine, what one factor which decides that they have a good routine? From just you can raise your hand and then just say it quickly. Yes.
Able to sleep well.
Sleep well. So that means good routine. Yes. Anybody else here?
Drinking water in the morning.
Okay. And that's part of the routine, drinking water in the morning. Yes. Anybody else? When you said I have a good routine, what constitutes a good routine?
Walking.
Walking. Okay.
You're not extremely exhausted at any one point.
Okay. And throughout your day, you have energy, consistent energy.
Thinking well.
Thinking well, clarity, and walking. Okay. Okay. Sleeping on time, meditating, walking. And you know how much walking is good for you. And okay. All right. Okay. Anything? Anybody else who thinks a good other factors which other than what we have heard?
Responsible for everything.
Feeling responsible, okay, or responsible sense of responsibility.
We cook.
Sorry. Healthy, happily cooking. Yes, I want to hear. You're feeling disciplined and it works for you. So okay, all right. Yes.
Just feeling at ease, like not stressed.
Feeling at ease and not stressed. Yes, and then you also agree with that.
You're connecting
Yeah.
to my thoughts and being at ease, like being
Okay.
comfortable as to where I am,
Okay.
how I am.
All right, DG.
Reading something positive.
Reading something positive, maintaining positive outlook and all. Okay, that's also good. And anybody else?
Being productive.
Damaji, yeah.
Not overeating at dinner.
Not overeating at dinner. So you think that's part of good routine? Yes.
Overeating overall.
Overall, not overeating. Yeah, sensible eating or mindful eating.
Being productive.
Being productive throughout the day. Throughout the day or only certain part of the day? Throughout the day. Okay. Like what I do. Okay. Satisfaction. Can we say sense of satisfaction?
Feeling of gratitude.
Feeling of gratitude. Okay. Yes.
Not having an angry mood and having arguments.
Balanced state of mind, not being angry. Okay. And yes.
Two more things that have not been told yet, and they
Yeah.
are very crucial. One, I have to get really hungry at least once a day,
Okay. Good appetite at least once a day.
and I have to eliminate well.
Good elimination at least once a day. Okay. So then my routine is good. Yeah.
Listening to some good classical music.
Listening to good classical music, feeling good. Yeah. And it's actually Shastra Sammat also. We are supposed to listen to. Samved is for the evening time. Yeah. Yes. Talking to plants. So you can say you are engaging with nature, right? Can we say that? That engaging with your ecosystem. Anything else?
Working out.
What's that?
Working out.
Working out. Okay, working out. All right. Family time. Okay, very good. And able to connect, right? Family time. You're able to connect. Not just talking and arguing. Okay, yeah. What's that? Playing with the grandchildren. Again, family time, engaging with the family. Anything? And for those, I think 3 or 4 people said walking. Who's confident that they know what is a good amount of walking? And not what your device is telling you, by the way. We'll come to that also as a promise. Okay, so I mean, I didn't see many hands. Maybe exercise got tired or something. But if you feel like you know what is a good amount of walking for me, raise your hand like this. Okay. All right. Yeah, such a device. Yeah.
45 minutes of walk twice a day.
Okay. 40 minutes of walk twice a day.
Brisk walk.
Does anyone know what is the recommendation from Ayurveda? And then we'll hear from cardiology point of view also.
I don't know the recommendation, but generally when we put this into regular practice, the body tells, hey, you're ready to walk. And after you naturally walk without having any counts or so, body tells, I think it's enough. You can
Okay,
rest."
yeah,
So-
because there is no straight answer. There is no one answer for everyone. So there is no 10K. It's not scientifically, concluded at 10K. It was the device has a limit, 4 digits wise. So 9999 was the upper limit. So that's how it became 10K. But Ayurveda actually has a recommendation. It's called Ardha Shakti, which means that perspiration on your forehead or your nose or your armpit just arrived, and you should feel that I have half my energy left. So for those who are working out, where I am is the same rule. So walking, you all said good, but again, just remember that. Anybody else who said, I know what are the things I'm doing which I know is not part of good routine? For those who said, I do not know or I know that I don't have a good routine. So for those who said, I do not know, leave that. But for those who know they are doing something wrong, which is not part of a good daily routine, yes.
I'm listening to very good podcasts, but
Too much.
Right before sleeping.
Okay, listening to podcasts right before, or doom scrolling, some could be. Watching TV, yes, okay. Going bed too late, yes. Yes.
Everything that the other people say.
Okay, not doing all the good things, right? Okay. Anything else? Eating late and sleeping late. Yeah, when we are conference and all. Okay. Yes. Irregularity. Okay. In routine or sleep only? Sleep. So nobody said irregular routine. Does anyone feel like irregular routine could be part of that? Yes. Okay. Okay. So let's hear. Ayurveda is dinacharya, but let's hear from cardiology point of view about only the lifestyle we're talking about, the day routine. We're not talking about anything else. So from cardiology point of view, and then we'll talk about Ayurvedic point of view also, because Ayurveda has a lot. There's a whole grantha on it, on routine. So, but let's hear, and then we can hear from Kaustubji also, but keep it brief so that they can take home something, single practice.
I don't know about cardiology point of view. American Heart Association recommends 30 minutes brisk walking. It's very preliminary, but I think from yoga standpoint, we do a whole teacher training course based on that. So in nutshell, eating protocol, breathing protocol, moving protocol, sleeping protocol, and thinking protocol. And it's a 200-hour teacher training course. But eating sattvic, mitahar and sattvic, breathing with mindfulness, ujjayi, as much as possible, 6-second inhale, if longer the better, little pause, 6-second exhale, all the time, every breath should be like that. Moving protocol, yoga vinyasa krama, there's nothing better than that. Right? Yoga, vinyasa, krama. Sleeping protocol we already covered. Thinking protocol, gratitude and discipline. Always having gratitude and discipline, no matter what.
Do you have any conversation? Yeah. Sheila ji, you want to add something
No, I agree with everything. I think the spiritual health, I don't know if I heard that. I think that's a really important part. I'll just also say something that's come out is the quality. It's not just the quantity, right? The 10,000 steps or the 4 hours of sleep. It's the quality of, and we'll talk about food in just a minute, but that's another part that we focus on a lot is the quality of food. Some of y'all said earlier that y'all are confused about the quality or when it comes to your food. If you're eating chips at one meal, but you're eating sattvic at the others, eating sattvic at the other meals doesn't make up for the chips at that one meal. Yeah, but I think it's the quality that maybe we can talk a little bit more about as well.
So Anand, you want to add from the Ayurvedic point of view, Dinacharya point of view? Maybe keep it brief, and then we can expand the time because we have a little short.
So it's like Sonal ji telling me, talking to a deep subject, but just keep it for. Yeah, it's like he's telling me keep it. It's a deep subject, but just keep it for 1 or 2 seconds. Okay, yeah.
It's a health session,
yeah.
conference.
Yeah. So I'm going to just add to a dharmic perspective of it. If you see, the first principle is that just try to follow. If you see all the animals around us, apart from nocturnals, none of the animals eat after sunset.
Yes.
We all are saying yes. Yesterday we had dinner at what time? Sorry. Yeah. So the thing is that I'll bring the other aspect of Ayurveda, which is brahmacharya, or a regulated lifestyle, you can say. Now, how you do, like, most of us might know the term brahmacharya. Anyone is unaware of this term? Okay, so, yeah, so the term brahmacharya, which means a regulated lifestyle, it's not only for the celibates. It's not only for the renunciates. So there are two types of brahmacharya. One is Naishtiki brahmacharya. Another is, anyone guess? Any guess? Anyone heard this term? Naishtiki brahmacharya. Yeah, Naishtik means celibate for lifelong. And the second aspect is that there's a Grihastha brahmacharya. All of us sitting in this room are Grihastha brahmacharyas. Now, I'll elaborate later.
So I think the word is balance. So and then we will go into because you're talking about brahmacharya. So let's go a little bit deep into that, and then we'll have the next poll. We have 45 minutes before the session ends. Okay. So if you feel like we have not covered something in next 15 minutes, yell that please go talk about that. And then we'll go into question answer sessions. Okay. So because we talk about brahmacharya, we talk about the balance. We're talking about the proper use of senses. So according to Ayurveda, there are some causes of disease. So 3 chief causes they say. One is called asatmaya indriya samyog. I'll explain what it is. And the other is called prajna prad. So yesterday, prajna came up. Neeraja ji, I think, mentioned about vivek and prajna. So in Ayurveda, the disease starts when the prajna aparadh happens. That means blasphemy to your intelligence. So in dinacharya, sometimes, when we whole day, whenever we're doing this prajna aparadh, which means our inner intelligence is telling us something and we are not doing that. Okay. Asatmiya indriya samyog is unwholesome conjunction of our senses. We are not using our 5 senses properly, too much or too less. That is also when throughout the day. Because in the sleep, anyways, you don't have any control. So throughout the day, that how your day goes decides how your night will go, how your sleep will go. So these are proper use of senses. I will not expand on that because we all know what we are doing. We are not using eyes properly. We are not using your hearing properly. Of course, talking definitely not properly. But touch also, think about, I will not expand on what is touch, how we are not using our sense of touch. And then, too much podcast, you said, hearing, and also smelling. To use a lot of those obnoxious, chemicals or too much of fragrances and all. So throughout the day, but I just want to briefly say one thing before we go into the next section is the dinacharya aspect of Ayurveda is dependent on. We heard about Yat Pindya Tat Brahmanda yesterday, right? So the whatever is in the macrocosm is in the macrocosm. The rhythm is similar. So if you are not going, and according to Ayurveda, there's a rhythm throughout the day, based on how your Panch Mahabhutas and the 3 doshas are regulated. So living according to that is dinacharya. So I will not expand because again we don't have time. But this is what dinacharya should have. Definitely ask somebody or read about it. And if you don't know about dinacharya, so that if you're following dinacharya, then your day routine is good. For those who said I do not know what my daily routine is it good or bad? So learn about dinacharya in Ayurveda. Okay. So next,
just to add
yes,
a part. One thing is very important because I always inform everyone that invest on your health.
Next question.
Invest on your health. Instead of investing on equity, invest on your health because health is an unique commodity. Only commodity we can invest and consume. You cannot do any other commodity like this. And health behavior is the most important thing. And yesterday I told a bit about the habit. So don't promise that I will do it tomorrow. You cannot do it. That's a gross mistake. So plan it that 1 inch, then one day you will arrive to 12 inch. So that's my, all sitting in this room are very intelligent one. So that's my good tips to practice your good and especially health behavior change. Thank you.
Yeah, please add. While we are talking, then please do the poll so that we can talk about that as well.
So on the topic of senses and managing it, we are recognizing now as a society, as a medical community, that we have a huge crisis in concentration. Our attention span has gone down. Just to give you the data, in 2000, average human attention span was 15 seconds. And now, actually 2015, the average attention span has gone down to 8.5 seconds. So in 15 years, we went down half. To give you a comparative, average attention span of a goldfish is 9.2 seconds. So what used to be ADHD in youngsters was 101 in 250,000 kids born with ADHD. Then it went down to 1 in 50,000. Now we are talking about 11%. Now, mental health experts are saying that we are diagnosing more and we are recognizing more. But we are not acknowledging and accepting the fact that the prevalence is increasing. The older generation, I can see my mom's generation, what used to be a daily routine of engaging with household work, now with efficiency and productivity, she's done, right? She lives with me, and the rest of the day is occupied by screen. And this is the generation that is passing with a lot of jumpy mind and jumpy tissue. They're going to come back as... So we have to remember how we train our chitta. The chitta carries on. The causal body carries on. We just take on a new body and come back. And the attention deficit is just very well trained chitta to keep jumping. Quietude and peace and solitude will become very difficult. So we as a humanity has to wake up to this reality that we have to take ownership of how we are using the time and how we are using this vehicle of body, mind, senses, so that we can really reach our true self, if that's the goal of an evolutionary journey of a human being.
I think the challenge in the US especially is that in the name of convenience, we have made all of these choices, right? The best babysitter is your phone. So children, you know, who are as young as 1 and 2 know how to operate the iPad, and they will not bother you for an hour. Children are that age are supposed to bother you every 2 minutes, right? That is normalized behavior for children that young. It's cheaper to go get chicken nuggets at McDonald's than it is to cook a meal at home. When you're going to the gym, you're driving to the gym instead of just walking in your neighborhood. So in the name of convenience, we have intentionally devised our life to make it as such. And because we have chosen, we can also unchoose it. You know, we can also shift. And I cannot tell you how important it is for our young kids that we make that choice and we normalize it. There's something called social norms. You know, if in the 1950s, if you went to the doctor's office, your doctor was smoking because it was normalized to smoke. We have shifted that. Right? Of course, now we have vaping, but we did shift the norms. It wasn't the norm to wear a seatbelt. It's become the law. If we can do that, you know, those are all things we made possible, right, as a society. But we made those choices. I think the number one killer of youth in our country is suicide, and it's not because of any other reason, but it's because of lack of a purpose-driven life, access to social media, and those are all things that don't just happen to them. We as parents are also providing them with those tools and means to access those pieces. It is not, I think somehow, somewhere, we get the message that because everybody is doing it, we should too. And I think it's important to understand that in making those choices, step by step, we are exposing our youth to those, you know, behaviors that are outside our control. I will tell you, how many of you know about Charlie Kirk and what happened to them? I didn't know who he was, but living in the same house, my 2 boys did. They knew everything about who he was and what he did. I had no idea who Charlie Kirk was, living in the same house. So I think it is important for us to also acknowledge that the ecosystem from a family standpoint and the choices we make as adults and the impact that has on the next generation. somehow in the name of convenience, and then we are expecting 15-year-olds to make the right choice as an adult. That's a lot we are putting on the next generation in terms of making those choices as well. Whereas as adults, we should be taking that responsibility.
Shilaji, it's very complicated human behavior because we human, in the name of warm, we make air condition the room and then put blanket on it.
Right.
So how complicated our health behavior is. It's very unique among us. And one thing in Sweden, recently we have started, especially with the children of the alcoholic families. Okay, I have a very famous intervention for them. And I always want to learn from the kids. You please try to learn from your kids. They are more intelligent than us. We always try to dictate them, do other way around. You consult your problem with her and you get fantastic solutions. Just turn around the table and then you find happiness. Both she is happy.
Yourself,
yes.
Right? Yes, 100%.
Because they are more informed than us. So use their knowledge.
So we are going into the next section, which is information. So that's a good. But I also want, before we go to that poll, I just quickly want to just briefly mention 2 points because we were talking about senses, sensory overload. There are 2 concepts which are very well known, and in our dharma also. The more you feed senses, the stronger your ego gets. Right? So a lot of times when we're talking about behavioral and addictions and I cannot, doom scrolling, you have no control over what I'm doing, the more you engage your senses. So unhealthy, going back to the cause of disease, unhealthy conjunction. So sensory overload, we can all reflect, we are all doing it. And then if you think of struggling with breaking a pattern, a habit, is because, and then also suicide, kids who are doom scrolling, most of the time who are spending their sensory overload, they experience more depression and they are more likely to commit suicide. And whether they're using laptop from the school or they are social media or anything. So it's the sensory overload. We are not talking about the content only. We're only talking about, even if you're watching Ramayana whole day, we are not even recommending that. Yeah. So sensory overload is a #1 reason for behavioral problems. Okay. You want to add something?
Yeah. So I'll just, how many of us, I'm pretty sure many of us might be aware of the 5 koshas. Can someone just tell me one each, starting from the topmost, from the bottommost? Thank you. Next. 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 And next. Thank you. We need to change the seats. Okay. So, in this entire aspect, if you see the Manomaya Kosha, it has the ability to handle both the other ends. Pranamaya and Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. And one more. Annamaya. The way you feed, we are going to talk about later, but the man or that aspect of mind, there is no relevance in the modern medical system. Am I right? Yeah. So I'll just give an example. I have a patient who was dealing with a severe case of schizophrenia for many years. And when he came to me, I started helping him with different things. And one day he told me, "What are you working on? It makes me feel so good." So I told him, "I'm working on a man." He said, "What is that?" He's an American. So he said, "What is that?" So I gave him a 25 pages write-up. He took this to a psychiatrist. He said, "I'm working on this." The psychiatrist said, No. Nothing is like this. Don't worry about that." And he was so frustrated with the psychiatrist. He said, "I'm dealing with you for past 20 years. Nothing is working for me. And then when this is working for me, you're saying it doesn't exist. How do I believe it?" So in our day-to-day activities, if we can do something to help the manamaya, like the mana, trust me, what the today's topic would be more sarthak. It would be more fruitful. Thank you.
So we'll go to the poll now. This is a very important point. So we'll cover two more points before we go to the question and answer session. One is the information, and then also because we have devices, so we'll cover that as well. The technology, because of the technology, we have access to a lot of information. But are we feeling confident about the health information we're getting, well, or with the Aura Ring or Fitbit or Apple Watch is telling us? Now, I think here this is probably the most clear poll we ever got among all the others. 20 people said, no, I don't know what is trusted information. 6 people said, or 10 people said, I trust health articles but confused with ever-changing guidelines. And 6 said, yes, I read and trust the health articles. So I'm very tempted to ask those 6 people, what is it, how do you know this? But because these are anonymous polls, if anybody if you have an opinion about what is trusted information, just 1 or 2, and then we'll hear from the expert. But very briefly, what do you call as a trusted information? And if we want to educate ourselves, we are talking about health education and all. What is a good health education? Where should be what information is reliable? Maybe 1 or 2 from audience, and then we'll do quick from the panel. Yes.
Rather than depending on the articles that we read, if we just believed in what our parents and grandparents have
Traditional knowledge.
depended on, I think their experience speaks. And
So traditional wisdom rather than blogs. Okay. Anybody else was saying? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, same thing. So if not from audience, oh yeah.
I think in the West, everything is very standardized. It's the same advice for everyone. Whereas there's just no room for subjectivity. No one knows my inner experience.
So context is missing.
Right.
So let's, yes, if I'm here, but very quickly, what do you think is the reliable information in our domain or in general? That should help.
As a dietitian, I get a lot of questions about food and diet, and my general recommendation, eat real food, mostly plants, not too much. That's it. You don't need to really be on any random cabbage soup diet or anything like that. The other part of it is if you think that eating cookies, chips, candy, junk food, any of the fast food is good for you, that's not real food. We call it ultra-processed food, but it's not food. It's food-like substances, but it provides no nourishment, and it's purely made for profit. It is not meant to nourish your body. There is no level of ultra-processed food that is good for you. Not one chip, not one cookie. And that might sound draconian for some, but the reality is that food was engineered by the tobacco industry. I don't know if y'all know this, but Philip Morris was one of the premier groups that was involved in developing what we know now as chips and cookies and candy. They used what was known in the tobacco industry to do the food engineering to get us and our kids addicted to those types of food. So that is not a food. These are food-like substances. There is no recommendation of the amount of that food that is good for you. So that is where I,
So
yeah.
the health, what is right information, what is wrong information? That's what we're focusing on.
So just to answer this question in one line, there's a concept called as Jnana and Vigyan. Jnana means knowledge. And can anyone help me with the terminology of Vigyan? Vigyan is known as, in English, if I have to translate it, it comes to realized knowledge. So, just to give you an example, in Ayurveda, whatever the traditional formulations of medicines are there in Ayurveda, they were not released to the public right away. I have a written documentation on this. They were tested on 7 generations. This is called as realized knowledge. So just to understand the genes, that how it affects throughout. So we are not debating on whether the today's knowledge is right or wrong. But at the same time, what to believe? We need to believe in the realized knowledge. And on a lighter note, some time back I had seen a movie, it's a Hollywood movie called Idiocracy. And after seeing that movie, in that movie they show how America would have been after a few years. They were doing some experiment. And when I saw that movie, I said, oh my God, this is happening now. And it's scary. So, cutting long story short, the knowledge which is coming from the Upanishad, the Vedas, it's been realized time-tested knowledge. Doesn't matter if you call the Surya as a sun. That doesn't change the properties of the sun. But if you can adapt that same knowledge in the best way we can in our day-to-day lifestyle, trust me, again coming back to the same topic of today's, there would be definitely health beyond medicines. Thank you.
So I'll add to this from Ayurvedic point of view, and because I was in the profession of medical knowledge, so I will talk from that aspect also. So we know what we're dealing with. So in Ayurveda and all the other Shastra, we have Siddhant, which are principles. And there's actually a very good exposure and the definition of what is actually constitutes a Siddhant. How does principles comes into being? The mic battery is probably low. So there are principles. So when you are talking about the trusted information, so it has to be principles, which RNG said, it has been tested, it has to be eternal. So in the Ayurveda, it will also say, and all the other Shastra will say, something which does not change with time. It can evolve, but the Siddhant doesn't change. The manifestation or application can change. So that is trusted. And now I'll compare with what we know. So for those who are using AI or using medical literatures also, because I used to review them, and I can tell you how the process goes, they are peer reviewed, which means if we all agree on one lie, that lie becomes a fact, right? So because it's peer reviewed. So, and most of you are not even trained to read medical literature. But for those who are, they are also reading what people have agreed on. Not necessarily, that does not make it as true knowledge also. And that's why it's changing. For those who are confused, why does it keep changing? Because people's opinion change. My gang agrees on one thing, now next year, his gang will agree on something else. And like that, the information keeps changing. So, don't trust blindly just because it's published in this medical journal, or AI is only collecting information which is out there in cyber world and giving you, it's not thinking on your behalf, and there's no realized, AI is not realized yet. Okay, we will not go into that, although we can go into that when it comes to health, but just to keep it brief, if you are confused, if you don't trust the information you get, you're absolutely right, but how to get it? Go back to, as Anandji said, we have enough Shastras, we have enough documented Granth. That's why it's called Sanatan Dharma. It's been eternal. And Ayurveda says that Ayurveda applies not only to humans, in this yuga or that yuga, every yuga. It applies to same principles, apply to plants, animals, insects, everything in the nature. So those principles are irrefutable. You want to add something? And then after this, we will have a very short, because we've been talking so much, a short breathing practice by Devraji, and then we'll go into questions.
So yeah, be careful with trusting and putting your Shraddha in the wave of medical literature. Just to give you instances, in the 80s, actually in 2000, a prominent educational institution in New York came up with an apology that they were funded by the sugar lobby in the 80s to specifically put money in blaming the fat for heart disease and push and invest more in sugar. So the sugar lobby invested in educational institutions to come out with data saying that fat is bad for heart disease. So anybody remember the advertisement of Rasna? It percolated back in Bharat saying that drink Rasna, this is good for your health. This is the problem. Coconut oil was blamed as a bad fat in this up to the 90s. And then now we have a recall. So we keep having recalls after 10, 15 years. To this day, after 5,000 years plus, no recall on Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. And just to add to those things, ghee is not bad, although it's saturated, and there are no safe or good levels of alcohol.
Yes.
That has been debunked.
Yeah, the alcohol is another story. I have to tell you this.
Lunchtime story.
Cardiologists were recommending red wine.
Yes.
And those who drank beer, they were told to change to red wine. Why? Because there was one study in 2002, I was a cardiology fellow, one study which showed that red wine, moderate drinkers, reduces heart disease. Fine print was, it was funded by the wine industry of the south of France.
And the beer industry came up with another research showing exactly the same thing, that beer drinking is good for your heart health.
Yes. Two things I want to share. In Japan, because we all are discussing about this information. In Japan, good sake, they don't know or they are not good in English. So the top Japanese professor's role, you know what is their role? To translate a good, authenticate scientific article in Japanese. And only then the Japanese society believe it. So do you know why the Japanese live the longest in the world? And the happiest also, one of the happiest. So you know how that they are filtering the information. And I, being Indian, I always feel that information flooding is actually harming us. And we are just jumping from one information bag to another information bag without knowing what is actually really inside the information bag. That's the diligent problem of our, especially Indians. We are especially in the NRI.
So, because we've been talking so much, we'll do a very brief, we had a movement exercise for 30 seconds. I know all the breathing protocols are longer, but we'll just do a very little bit, because then we are heading into question answer session. So let's little calming activity, and then we'll go into question answer sessions. Yeah.
Sit up straight. Spine erect. It's okay. And just do some inhale and exhale. 6-second inhale. Pause for 1 or 2 seconds to your comfort zone, and then 6-second exhale. A few rounds of that. And try and see if you can practice Ujjayi by gently constricting the vocal cords, and have that sighing sound except with the mouth closed. It's easier during exhale. But with practice, you can do it during inhale too. So the nasal sound is gone, and the sound is coming from the pharynx, constricted glottis, vocal cords. And it sounds like an ocean, in and out. So this, if you practice, this is also called modern medicine, calls coherent breathing, activating the vagus nerve, calming the nerves, bringing down the blood pressure a few points. Whenever we are agitated, stressed, about to go into a stressful situation, this little practice will go a long way in equipping ourselves better. Okay.
Yes. Question number 1. Yes. Are we feeling calm? Okay.
The question is, I hear that between 10:30 to 11:30, people of middle age, they feel more sleepy. And even I heard in homeopathy, they call it something like a 11 o'clock syndrome. Anything about it and how to avoid?
So daytime sleeping, midday, when you're feeling all of a sudden, you're feeling low energy and feeling sleepy. Why does it happen and how to avoid? Is that the question?
It's called 11 o'clock, so around
Okay.
that time.
Yeah. Yes. I can answer, but let's see if the panel, anybody wants to answer that. So I was talking about the rhythm in the day. We have the Vata hour, Pitta hour, Kapha hour. So they are divided by 4 hours. So and they go and then they come down. They go up and they come down, and the next one starts. So the cycle it goes is Kapha, then Pitta, and then Vata. So if you are, and that's what the Dinacharya was, that if you are living according to those principles, what we're supposed to do between 6 and 10, and 10 to 2, then you will not have this crash. So a lot of times, the biggest reason for that is your Agni is so low, and you have a breakfast which was your Agni, your digestive fire was not sufficient. And for those who do not know what Agni is, we're talking about your digestive enzymes, your hormones, your bile, and your stomach acid. If it's not sufficient to digest what you ate in the morning, all the Agnis, all the firepower is drawn towards your gut to digest it, and then you don't have enough going in the other part of the senses, of the brain and senses, and then it shuts down. So either your Agni is low, you need to fix your breakfast, or so either Agni is low or you're eating wrong for the breakfast. That's one thing. And again, sleep is another reason. If you have not slept well, then whatever the little bit of good sleep you had was enough to keep you going for a few hours, and then you hit down. So that's a reason. And there are other reasons also, but we'll go see if anybody wants to add, then I can go on other reasons also.
So generally, as he rightly said, it more pertaining to your Agni. If whatever we have eaten last night or yesterday, and if it hasn't been digested properly, it makes you sleep. It puts you to sleep, so all the energy can be diverted towards digestion. That's how it is. And I'll just expand this thing. How many of us, like let's say you have nice gulab jamun or rasgulla, and after eating that, couple of them you feel sleepy, right? And after that cat nap, when you wake up, you feel energetic. In one way, all the organs are shut, and the energy is diverted towards the stomach, to the datar. That helps to digest it properly. And once that's done, it's again the energy sent back. So it's as simple as that.
Oh, so let's hear from others also. Yeah.
Do you all recommend a trusted source of information, or maybe all recommend a book for us? Also, as ABCD, a lot of the references, there's so many scriptures and so many things to read, I don't know where to start. So
Okay. So the question about medical information will come to that, but let's hear the question. Yes. Yeah. You can do this also. It's a small room, but if you feel like you're not heard, you can come down and we can keep one mic just for the questions.
It's a kind of a concern. Yes. In India nowadays, this protein powder is becoming very popular, and then the whey protein, and there is a big lobby. Is it a lobby or it's a real thing? We don't know. So some thoughts about the whey, and they prove it. This is either and secondly, another thing at the higher level, what is becoming popular is vegetable protein. So the whey protein and vegetable protein, is there any sense to it? Is the egg better? Because nowadays, one good thing is that youngsters are more conscious about the health. So the protein has become a big fashionable thing.
Protein is a very important question. We'll let's answer
Yeah,
that one. Because this question comes daily, protein comes a lot. So yeah, we have that question. You want to add something, and then we'll add from my perspective.
Sure. Yeah, this is what. But I mean, yes, I think we get that question almost every hour of every day. In the U.S., there is no issue related to less consumption of protein. We who live in America, no matter what type of diet we consume, we consume a lot of protein. The protein recommendations have gone up with the new administration. Many of us are not in agreement with that, especially with the type of protein, red meat consumption that is being promoted. Plant proteins are generally the best type of proteins. The other thing I will say is I am not for supplementation. You can get enough of your protein from real food. There is, I don't know where this, well, it is about making money, right? We talked about that for a few minutes ago. But there is absolutely no reason why we need to consume 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight in terms of protein. There's no scientific evidence to suggest that we need 40, 50, I don't even know at what point we are, about 30 or 40% of our calories to be coming from protein. That's a lot of protein that your body needs to digest. Your kidneys, everything needs to process in terms of, letting your body process it. We also highly recommend just real plant protein. So what you get from your lentils, your beans, those are going to be your high quality proteins as well. And certainly not red meat or those other forms of processed meats. Processed meats are also linked to cancer. So there's a lot in that space as well that we do not recommend. So it is a big marketing ploy. And I know I have 2 boys, teenagers, so I know that that's sort of in their face all the time. And also if you want to bulk up, right? Like that's the other thing, like bulking up. But you can get protein through your regular food without having to use, whether it's whey protein or vegetable those are all supplements, and you can eat it as part of your real diet and food. There is a lot that we do not know. I think one thing that's important to understand about supplements, we don't know what they do in regards to our body. We assume supplements, because they're over the counter, have no side effects or have little side. That is not true. So you also don't know when you're layering up on these different supplements what it's doing to your body. Fat-soluble vitamins, for example, they don't just flush out, they stay in your body. So there's a lot that people just don't know, even if when it comes to supplements, whether it's vitamins or these types of...
Comment on protein. Yes. There was a doctor here in America. I got to interview him. And he set up an award, $10,000 award, to be given to anybody who will show that somebody has died because of protein deficiency. That award has not been claimed at all. So it is all, elephant is vegetarian. I don't think it has any protein problem.
I was going to say elephant, horse, we say horsepower. Yeah. Hippopotamus, rhinoceros, all are vegetarian.
I don't think they have protein problem.
You don't eat protein to make protein.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
to add,
We can change the mind if it is okay, please.
thank you.
So are you
Yeah, we
saying
wanted to talk more.
no,
If you eat right.
if you're right.
That's right.
So try to understand one thing. We have been trained to understand the data. I mean, we don't understand the data. We have been trained to just focus on the data. But the data, what has been provided to us, like he and Kaustubhji could re-emphasize that, it's just for a particular population. There is no concept of protein in African food. There is no concept of protein in South American food. Protein comes only in North American and some part of Europe. There is no concept of protein in Asian food. So at the end of the day, Ayurveda says that there are 6 types of taste. Anyone knows? Yeah. Yeah. And he was mentioning the term rasna. They were so precise, where to touch. So this rasa, they are not taste actually. English has a limited vocabulary. So the rasas, they are like sweet, salty, astringent, pungent, bitter, and anyone else? Sour. So in a typical Indian diet, no matter whichever part of India you belong to, all these things are covered. India being a tropical country, it had a particular way the Jaitaragni used to work. There were seasons, as I think she was telling that in the US they don't, the crops, agriculture is not, there's not rotation, it's not there. So in the Western concept of diet, there was something to be given to people to stay on. And how many of you are aware of the pyramid, health pyramid?
Food pyramid.
Food pyramid. What is called? It is called a SAD.
Standard American diet.
Standard American diet. So sad. So sad. So now, to make matters worse, they inverted it now. So the thing is that, at the end of the day, if we can pay attention to the needs of the body, a simple principle, if you have a good sleep, if you have a good day, according to Dinacharya, if you involve the yogic practice little by whatever you can do, you will get hungry properly. And if you eat when you're hungry, and drink when you're thirsty, and sleep when you're sleepy, our today's motto, the topic, health beyond medicines, that's what it is. So forget, like, don't go with the mindset of, I need to take this much protein, I need to take this much carb. It won't work. Just Google, on YouTube there's a video called clay cookies. You should look into it. It's from the Haitian community.
So I want to just add on this, then we'll move to the next question, just based on the combining Ayurveda and scientific knowledge. So you need to know when we eat, and because this question was about protein, when we eating, who are we feeding? When we use the word ahar, who are we feeding? So you hear this word that you're eating for two people. One is you, or your mind, and all the rasas, but also you're feeding your gut microbiome. And protein diet, high protein diet, actually adversely affect your gut microbiome. Can anyone tell me what is one single factor which is the best thing for gut microbiome? And we know the gut-brain axis and gut regulates everything.
Fermented food.
So I heard fermented food, probiotic, and yeah, but none of you said the right answer. Yeah, you are coming to that. What we call as prebiotic. There's a thing called prebiotic, which actually feed your gut microbiome. So we're talking about, what are prebiotic? Protein does not come under prebiotic. In fact, too much protein is the opposite effect of having prebiotic. Prebiotic is what feeds your, and through our gut, from mouth to our anus, we have different kind of gut microbiome. And our food should be able to feed all of those because they have very specific purpose. And when you say fruit and vegetables, fibers and polyphenols, so fruits and vegetables we're talking about, and plant-based food we're talking about, that should be our breakfast, that should be our lunch, that should be our dinner, because our gut microbiome needs food throughout the day. So protein does not come into that. Now sugar is another thing. People didn't ask about sugar and dairy, but sugar and dairy also adversely affect the gut microbiome. They're also not prebiotic unless it's your mother's milk. Mother's milk has some prebiotic components, but the milk we get from stores, it is not prebiotic, it's actually the opposite. So answer the protein we already touched upon. Most of the strongmen, there's a strongman competition, we know Patrick Babu Moshai. So this guy, he used to be non-vegetarian, and then he reached all the world records. He wanted to break his own record, and then he turned veganism, and then vegetarian, and vegan use that excuse. But it was about plant-based food is what increased his strength. So if you're a bodybuilder, if you're an athlete, I have this question from a lot of athletes, professional athletes who are taking creatinine, who are taking whey protein. The question was about whey protein or plant-based protein. Is plant-based protein is better and all? No. If you take a leaf, if a salad, it has all the amino acids, and I can tell you which leaves are better than others. But most of the plants will have the amino acids which are required to make protein in your body. Yeah, you want to make your protein, not elephant's protein or cow protein or deer protein or goat protein. We are not talking about or chicken protein. So it's the food we are eating has to have a balance, those building blocks, so that using our body's intelligence, we can have the right amount of body structure.
So I'll just add that the impossible burgers and things like that have come out that say they're plant proteins, but they're ultra-processed foods. So they do fall into that category, and that's not real food as well.
Let me quickly mention something. So you mentioned gulab jamun, you mentioned jataragni, you mentioned processed foods, and you mentioned looking at food. So if I look at a gulab jamun and love it, okay, the jataragni is not going to process it. It's a joke. Okay, but one serious question. We have two Ayurveda professionals over here. Can everybody hear me on this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So there's a problem with the mic. Question. Okay. So we have a lot of off-the-counter Ayurvedic medicines available. Go to any Indian store, and there is so much misinformation floating around on the internet about them. Okay, now my personal bias is I'm also a student of Ayurveda. I don't think people should be taking those willy-nilly without a proper Ayurvedic consultation. Can you please, that has not been covered yet so far, because there is right timing and wrong timing, and Prakruti that has not been discussed yet. So if you can talk about
quickly answer that question from Ayurvedic point of view. So what you're talking about is Aushadhi, and this session is health beyond medicine. When we say health beyond medicine, we're talking about allopathic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, herbal, Chinese. We're talking about all medicine. So even in Ayurveda, there are 4 modalities of treatment. It will be called Ahar, Vihar, Aushadhi, Panchkarma. So if you think about that, and they are not equally divided. So diet and lifestyle, ahar and vihar, they can fix your health problems also. If needed, then Aushadhi is given, but there's an issue with Aushadhi, and there are a lot of issues with Aushadhi part. And then come the Panch Karma, which is not the center Panch Karma, which is the detoxification. There are multiple methods of that. So even in Ayurveda, although when you hear word Ayurveda or you tell AI Ayurveda, it will show you herbs and will show you Aushadhi. That's also medicine. Okay, so when you say people, Ayurvedic medicine do not have side effects, only ineffective medicine do not have side effects. So if you are giving somebody, straw, powder straw, even that will have some effect. So that's a very big wrong, this big misconception that Ayurvedic medicine do not have. I do get a lot of people who have liver damage because of they have taken Ayurvedic treatment. So it's not, the medicine part is one component, and definitely, you have a higher risk of adverse effect if you take potent Ayurvedic medicine without consultation than you have with over-the-counter medicine.
The problem is we don't know what we are looking for. People take Ayurvedic medicine, because, Triphala is good for this. It's a laxative. Triphala is not a laxative. Triphala is called as a rasayana. First of all, in Ayurveda, none of the Ayurveda scriptures talk that, we are going to heal your gut, we are going to heal your liver, we are going to heal your kidney or heart, nothing. We simply talk about kapha, vata, pitta. So, don't try to go and do shoplifting. I'm not not shoplifting, but that's a joke. So don't try to do window shopping, because, as you rightly said, any aushadhi which you put in the stomach, if you don't know the reasons behind that, it might have an adverse effect. And the whole idea for today's session is health beyond medicine. And
yeah, sorry.
So to go back to your joke on gulab jamun, you mentioned about them. I also said discipline.
And gulab jamun, by the way, is not considered a bad thing. Yes. There's a madhur ras, which is very important for us. But again, sanyam, balance is very important.
Discipline means eat less, right?
Yeah, no, pragna prag, and yeah. Listen to your inner intelligence. When it's telling you stop, then you stop.
As long as it's not out of
Namaste everyone. Thank you for the opportunity for this question. So my question is, we are all discussing about the information that we have so far. So getting the information is not the thing right now. Most of us expecting is what is the practical way of implementing of those? For example, I'll give some examples. So I did some course in Ayurveda. So I know doing abhyanjana every day is needed, and applying the oil on 7 parts of the body. In this practical life, if you it is not highly impossible to apply all those things. And also, as we discussed about the protein, I saw the Sadhguru said that which protein is made up of ourselves without eating the other animals and kind of stuff. But the counterpart of it, I heard somewhere else, animals eat tons of food, so they will get the protein out of the tons of food. But as human beings, we have limited capability of eating that food. And nowadays also you're taking one meal, a full meal is also highly impossible for us, working and all those things. And
Keep it brief.
yeah, and the paradox of the other thing is Ayurveda said we can eat the food around 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Agni is high. And yesterday we saw G mentioned skipping the breakfast is the first mistake we are doing. So how we can balance all these things and practical nowadays?
Yes, I want to add very quickly one thing, that even we all are discussing about Ayurveda, but one thing we should remember, and I strongly emphasize for all, that Ayurveda has been written so many years back. And that time their lifestyle, their society was not like what we are living now. And in science, Srilaji knows, we have very particular term, confounding effect. Okay, for example, yesterday, don't take it personally, yesterday after lunch, we practiced yoga. Yeah. So when our brain, when our stomach demands maximum oxygen, then we are forcefully trying to, on the brain. This is the confounding effect. So that we should do, we should be very careful.
So in the mode of practicality, as I said, it's a simple principle. There's nothing complication in that. Whether you follow Ayurveda, you don't follow Ayurveda, you follow naturopathy, whatever it is. Just wait till the time you feel hungry. I'll tell you a Sanskrit shloka. It says, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpa nimagraha. So these are the 4 things. Atyahar. When you say atyahar, like as you were saying about gulab jam, when you look at gulab jam, you're eating with your eyes. I'll give you an example. I had a patient who, from southern part of Maharashtra, it's a west coast. So people near the sea, they eat fish. So this guy, he went to the local doctor, and the doctor told him that you should stop eating fish. That was a big austerity. And after a month, he went for the follow-up. So doctor said, I had told you to stop eating fish, you're still continuing. He said, I can swear on anyone, I haven't touched fish. So being a village setup, one day this doctor went to his house when he was having lunch, and he happened to find that while he was eating the meal, the next door neighbor, they were cooking fish, and the smell was coming here. So he was eating the regular food, but the sensory perceptions, the mind started designing those kind of chemicals. So there comes the Sayam. There comes the restrictions. And I'll end with Mahabharata, one shloka. Most of might have heard that. It says, Ahar nidra bhayamaithunam cha samanya yono pashu vinaranam dharmo hitesha adiko vishesho dharmena hina pashu visavanam. So, cutting all these things aside, it said, dharmena hina. If you don't know the consciousness of what you're doing, if you don't know what's a dharma, then whatever you do, it might not fall in the right place. Thank you.
So, in reference to your question, yes, there is a lot of information bombardment here. And the daily routine, start from the beginning to the end when you sleep. The best practical advice I can suggest, which worked for me, is look around you and see if someone has done the hard work already. Look around you and see who has done the homework, who are so dedicated and passionate about health that they will put their time and attention and invest. That one person will have to do a lot of work. But the advantage of that one person doing it is that that one person can create a community of light and wellness around. So if you're lucky, like I am lucky, right? I have my wife at home and I just listen to her. So if we can find such noble souls who are going to dedicate their life for this cause, satsang is very powerful. Just do what they do.
Yeah, and satsang, the power of satsang, that affects your gut microbiome also. If you hang out with healthy people, positive, optimist people, that's what you become because your gut microbiome changes. So, know your company. Very important. Will, you want to add something? No. So, when you're talking about lifestyle dharma, we heard so much definition about dharma, sustainability. So the questions you're asking about, always think from the dharmic point of view and you get your answers. That's what Ayurveda also says. Is it sustainability point of view? Whether you're doing the extreme of this way or that way, or doing the moderate path, and is it something which takes me towards my final goal, fulfills purpose of my life? Okay, let's go to the poll. We have 2-3 things. The previous one was, is it expensive to be healthy? And I think, again, a little bit more than 50% of people said it is expensive. And then we have the next one. I hope after today, that the perception will change, because we have not talked about buying anything so far. Okay. Unless we are expensive. So the other one was about food. What makes it hardest to eat healthy? And what we see, taste preferences, most people said, and time. So the options were lack of cooking skills, limited options nearby, others. So taste preferences, because we're used to certain kind of food, and time, they are kind of probably the most dominant answers. I think people are still polling. If you want to add to this, please use fast fingers. And then, because we have 5 minutes exactly for this session. Yes, Arunji.
Ask a question?
Yes, please. Yeah, this is the question session.
So also the devices we haven't just
Yes. So devices question answer was devices running on the information, all the information. You don't know whether it's a real information or not, So devices may not tell you the right thing.
Two things which I got is, one is that what is good information, and second is the bad information, wrong narrative is there. Now, coming here, it is a lot of wealth of information, but we are also going to forget, and we know that we are not going to be able to percolate. Is there any possibility that this panel and others in the DCF can take up an initiative to create the resources to address both? First, debunk, because debunking is more important at this point of time, because the positive information is coming from different sources, at least availability is there. And second, put the good resources in a way which is useful to different age groups in different areas. So this is one suggestion, if DCF can take it up, and definitely finding the resources we can also try to help. And second, just one suggestion, because this sort of effort is going to require cross-section of expertise, not just the knowledge, but marketing, public relations, technology, all those things. So those who are inspired here, if they are, someone is willing to spend some time and effort and resources to do this thing, they can give to their names to Sonalji, and then they can pursue. So this
yes, so Arunji, excellent question. I will briefly answer this. So as part of this panel, we also kind of agreed that we'll put together a white paper kind of a thing, collectively, all 5 of us, because there are a lot of questions you have not answered. There are a lot of information which we did not give because for the paucity of time. So that is one thing we're going to put. And then also there are a lot of initiative, and Dharma Civilization Foundation definitely has been a big help. But there are also other organizations who have approached for such initiatives about diet, about lifestyle recommendations. So we all of us will be trying our best to put out the right information, and which is also aligned with Dharma. So this is without any conflict of interest. So at least we'll answer that question about. And now, if people who are interested in technology, Dharma or apps and all, then definitely we can work together and get technology also to help us. As Arunji said, we need people from every field, volunteers, experts, domain experts and all. But this is something we take as a pledge together that we want to contribute, because we said one thing, we cannot be Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. We cannot be healthy alone. So with that, I think I got the time that we have, 2 minutes remaining. So yes, so maybe we can just ask the questions and maybe not answer, so that we know what to cover. Yes.
So I'm loud enough. So
okay.
Thank you so much, Sonji, and the panelists. It was a very informative session. Some things that I really wanted to point out, the U.S. being where they are also cognizant of things that are going on around the world, right? So when you're talking about other medicine, other practices, they incorporate. So I'm not sure how many of you know Andrew Still, A.P. Still. He started a medical school called osteopathic school. And osteopathic schools...
Question, only questions.
I'm going to come to it. So osteopathic schools are the ones which are the fastest growing schools in America. So there are 160 MD schools, which is the allopathic schools, and around 40 or so osteopathic schools. All the physicians that tend to the presidents are DOs. So if you're going to a primary care physician or anybody, make sure that you know who they are. The DO philosophy is body, mind, and spirit. They cater to holistic medicine. And with the new curriculum coming in, they are incorporating diet, lifestyle, microbiome, all of the things that we talked about is going to be included in the menu.
Okay, excellent. So there are other, I think people are getting sick of the conventional, what we call as conventional healthcare. So looking for options, and market is filling in. Any questions? Because we'll just take questions so that we know what are the questions which were left, and especially from the young generation. Yes.
So earlier in the session, Dr. Sharma mentioned that there's no industry, there's no prevention industry because there's no money to be earned from that industry. So I was curious what changes you would make to be able to establish prevention as an economically sustainable branch of the medicine.
We will not be able to answer because we got the time out. So let's all. So can we just do? Yeah, you want to answer? Very quickly, a few seconds.
Sure. One of the things we're doing is actually it's a movement called Food is Medicine, where we are working with health systems and payers, so insurance companies, where we are integrating healthy food into the healthcare system, so that when you go to your doctor and your doctor says, oh, you have type 2 diabetes and you need to get metformin, they also get a prescription for healthy food along with it that they can then redeem at their food pharmacy. So there's actually 22 states, U.S. states, that are now reimbursing for food as medicine type of programs.
Excellent. So now, because next is, we are waiting for the lunch now. So we will do two things now. We will do a closing chanting and then Bhojan Mantra. Is that the correct thing?
We'll do a quick felicitation.
Okay, all right. So after that we can...
Yes. I request Shalini ji. That was a great panel, and we can see how much more discussions are left and so much more work, to be done. So thank you for this excellent panel. So I request Shalini ji to pass Dharma Foundation mementos to everyone. Thank you. One more big round of applause.